Welcome to the Transcend Money community on this historic day. And why do I say historic day? I know we're at war, which is very sad and all that we want. But today, Bitcoin has given a historic signal that has never happened in the history of Bitcoin. That in a war with bombs and deaths, the price of Bitcoin has risen in an extraordinary way. Almost 7%. Neutral gold. Silver falling, gold neutral. But well, falling in the last few hours. And oil rising so. I've made a mix here. I've saturated myself. Why have I saturated myself? Because Bitcoin is designed for this. To keep wealth in any situation. So, we're simply going to analyze the price of Bitcoin. With the order book, which is what can happen, etc. But the summary is that the market today has decided. After the bombing attack over the weekend and all that. Today, the market has decided that. And what do I mean by that? That Bitcoin is not a speculative asset. And today, Bitcoin has been a safe haven asset. Where? If you're in a country being bombed, and you want to leave quickly, with danger, because we can't forget everything that has happened, they've thrown a bomb. At Amazon's web services, so Anthropic, Google has a lot of internet systems. What I'm saying is that in a war, obviously, anything can be attacked, and we've seen that even the banks can fail. They can freeze the banks. They can cause inflation. They can do whatever they want. They can't let you. If you want to leave Dubai, you can't take your gold with you because they won't let you pass through the airport with gold. They won't let you take bills. They won't let you take anything. You leave Dubai, you go to another country to be safer, and now you take your money there. If they let you, or if the banks work. In this case, in Dubai, I don't think there's a problem. What I'm saying is that today is extraordinary. Because the price of Bitcoin has reacted like real Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin that was designed for. So today is more important, I think, a very important day compared to the level of the first pizza that was bought, or the first thing that was bought with Bitcoin, which was a pizza, right? Pizza day. Well, today is Bitcoin's day as a safe haven asset. It's very, very, very spectacular to see these extraordinary candles. Whatever the reason may be, it has coincided with the war, and therefore, today is the first day that Bitcoin, the market confirms that it's a safe haven asset. Safe haven asset, or call it keeping your wealth without anyone being able to stop you. You change countries, they bomb. All the banks in the world it's a bit exaggerated, but in 80% of countries, whatever happens, Bitcoin keeps working. It's one of the most robust things. And today the market has confirmed it. And we probably won't be surprised that there are people leaving countries. Qatar, Bahrain, Dubai, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Israel. Imagine, you have no other option. If you have to leave a war scenario, and you have problems with the banks in your country, or in the countries you're going to, or whatever happens, today has shown something spectacular. Crypto, not just Bitcoin, but crypto, look at what we've had. Ethereum rising, Solana, Monero, everything rising. In a spectacular way, traditional markets. Neutral, falling. Gold also rising. So today is an incredible moment in which the world has really realized that Bitcoin is the only way to. It's the money, there's no money. Only Bitcoin, why? Because imagine you have a lot of gold in Dubai. You can't take it with you unless you have a private plane, and you can't even enter Europe with all your gold. You can't change countries with gold, with bills, with diamonds, with jewelry, up to a certain limit. So today, for me, is spectacular, historic. We've made history today, March 2nd, 2026. After the bombing over the weekend in the Arab Emirates, or the attack on Iran, or whatever you want to call it, or the war between the United States and China over artificial intelligence, energy, oil, call it what you want, but the move the United States has made is incredible. What they've done today in the markets has created a historic moment. Incredible, and with effects that are incredible, especially. We were talking about it yesterday, about the energy topic, right? Through the Strait of Hormuz. So incredible, spectacular. And now we'll see, because today is a unique day in the history of Bitcoin. Never before, in the history of Bitcoin, Bitcoin had risen in a moment of geopolitical or financial conflict or whatever. So, point number one, we're in a historic moment. Not because of the war, but because of the market's reaction in the crypto world in a situation of intense geopolitical tensions. That for the first time in history, the market has given the signal that crypto is the safest asset in the market. Silver is falling, copper is falling, gold is falling. The only thing rising is oil because there will be less oil. Obviously for Europe, India, China, there will be less oil, and they'll have to buy it from Russia. And crypto rising spectacularly. It's incredible. So the moment has arrived. It will be thanks to the geopolitical tensions that the market has really discovered by force that the only solution is crypto right now. To keep your wealth, to keep 100% security that your wealth is yours and that no one can stop it or take it away from you. And that's what I'm saying is that today is extraordinary. It's incredible what's happened today. Well, that being said, it's done. I've let it go. Now, for me, it's overbought. Now, for me, Bitcoin is overbought. So, in an hour, we have it. Overbought. In 4 hours, almost. Overbought. On a daily basis. No, it's neutral and on a weekly basis, it's also oversold. But, in my opinion, in most scenarios, it has risen too quickly. So, I think now a correction is coming. The question is, why? Because we already know it's not where the price is going, or if there's support or resistance. This doesn't matter. What matters is if strong capital is going to come in. That is, if people are going to buy Bitcoins at any price, or if someone is going to sell Bitcoins at any price. And the quantities and those prices are what define the price of Bitcoin. We already know, as always, the order book against the type. So, the type means trades. You already understand. Those of you who are new, welcome. Thank you very much to all the likes and to the new subscribers. But quickly, this is an order book. That can be in any exchange case, and market trades happen when someone takes from the order book. In a desperate way, if you're in Dubai and you want to leave quickly and it's being bombed, and you don't trust that you can't get your money out of the bank in Dubai, not from the bank in Dubai, but from the financial system, SEPA or SWIFT or whatever, which are 7, I think, on planet Earth. The company that handles this fails, or they block you or freeze it, or it's not clear. So, you say, damn, I'd better not take gold. I can take some jewelry, but I can't take gold because they won't let me enter Europe, or wherever you want to go. And the only thing that is Bitcoin or crypto, call it what you want. So, what's happening today is spectacular. That now we're going down, and now we'll see it in the order book. Is another topic. Now, for me, it doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin does. What's happened today is a historic moment that I'm super proud to be living through with all of you, with the community. Transcend money, after so many years. This is a historic moment that has never happened before, and will never happen again, because it's the only time Bitcoin can rise with super intense geopolitical tensions of nuclear bombs, missiles, drones, attacking Dubai. Incredible what's happening, right? And Bitcoin rose, which is what it was designed for. Bitcoin, or crypto, or whatever you want to call it. But Bitcoin, in particular, well, now that I've let go of my whole rant, congratulations to everyone. Historic moment. Today Bitcoin is Bitcoin, today. Bitcoin is the Bitcoin of the cyberpunks. For what it was designed. Really, to say in a moment of emergency, this is mine. And I am the maximum authority in the universe. No one, no government, no company, no bomb, nuclear or not, can take it away from me. This is what Bitcoin was designed for. And if I say it's sent, from here to here, it's sent. And I am the maximum authority in the universe. No one can stop it. So, it's extraordinary what's happened today. Extraordinary. I think we're in a moment almost as big as the one with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Basically, I think the war we're in today is about artificial intelligence because the United States doesn't want to let China take over the world with artificial intelligence. So, now they're trying to stop it by cutting off their energy. Because 20% of all the oil that comes out of planet Earth through the Strait of Hormuz, most of it goes to China. You already know, you have it in yesterday's video if you want. I'll leave it here for you. We were explaining it. seeing how the oil tankers are moving through the Strait of Hormuz. You can see it in the video. I think most of you saw it yesterday. But quickly, because I think it's extraordinary, this map here. You have it in yesterday's video that I left for you, which is basically the oil tankers coming out of this area, where there's a wealth of gas and oil. And so, I think what the United States is trying to do is close off the oil that goes to China. In fact, we were explaining it here, that this is the route, basically where, well, you have it in yesterday's video. Total, I think this route, most of the oil, in large proportion goes to India and China. Well, so, what I'm saying is that I basically think this war is affecting crypto in an extraordinary way that we still haven't seen the effects on artificial intelligence. Well, that being said, so now, we're going to see the opportunity we have. Why? What I was saying. Now we have to guide ourselves because the order book is totally crazy. We've already seen it in the last few days. So look, it's pushing with 400 Bitcoins at 69. Well, yesterday we had to enter short here, where we are now. That's what we had, and support in this area. We made the video at this point. I've already left the video here for you to follow. Thank you very much to the likes and to the new subscribers. So I'm holding the price. I didn't expect this radical rise, but here we have to enter short, logically. Now by probability. Now I explain my way of seeing it, or collecting partial profits, or however you want to call it. Now we're going to erase this. You already know that this is Delta Strike. You have the website below in the video description. If you want, I'll put the link here. Okay, so now the question is, today look, we're already at 70, where there's the most liquidity. Right now, this is the Binance futures order book that we're seeing 50,000 prices. And of those 50,000 prices, today, look, see, there are more than 50,000 prices. There are 54, more than 50,000. Do you see? Something's happening. That is, people are really buying Bitcoin. But the most exciting thing today is that I think today, for the first time in human history, the market is buying crypto to use it. To use it like gold. To keep their wealth and be able to move it from one place to another. But, of course, you can't move gold. It's very expensive. And they'll ask you a lot of questions when you change countries. And it's a hassle. And it's a problem. It's a big problem. It's very expensive. Today is an extraordinary day we're living through. Extraordinary. Okay, next thing. So, from that order book, we have around 70,000, 500. There's resistance there. What does resistance mean? That the price of Bitcoin is expensive. That the price of Bitcoin is expensive relative to probabilities or Bitcoin's history. In other words, the price of Bitcoin has risen very quickly. There have been many purchases too quickly, not enough Bitcoins. So those who have sold Bitcoins have been expensive. So this rapid rise usually has to have a small correction. And by small correction, I mean that at some point, those selling Bitcoin will get scared and say, well, I'm going to sell a bit cheaper, put that way. Or that those buying no longer need as many. So, a small correction. And that doesn't mean that after that correction, it can't keep rising. But a small correction, okay? That's why we have here, I think, this $253, 17 million at 1.7%. And look, wow, how extraordinary it is. Look how brutal it is, huh? To rise 1.7%, it costs $370 and some $1 million. Incredible, incredible. Now, in this area, there are already many Bitcoin sellers because it has risen very quickly. So now people are saying, damn, it's risen very quickly, and I think there will be a correction. And that's why people are now selling at this price. There are many sellers now at 70,000. Why? Because it coincides with oscillators, resistances, signals, whatever you want. But there are many who are willing to sell at 70,000, including me. Partial sales and short entries. Because I think Bitcoin doesn't serve. No, because I think we're going to have a correction, and I'll take advantage of it to buy back at a lower price. That's my intention. It's 100% guaranteed that the price will rise. No, because if someone says it's not going to rise, that the price is going to fall, no, because if someone comes and buys Bitcoin strongly, Bitcoin will rise. It doesn't matter the indicators, it doesn't matter the RSI. It doesn't matter everything. I mean, if Bitcoin wants to rise to 84, 82, or whatever. It rises, but it can also fall. If someone sells strongly, but by logic, no, by logic, by probabilities, such a strong rise usually comes with a small correction. That's called a 3, a 5, whatever percentage. I think that if we go to 70 to 72, we might have a 6% drop. It's not crazy. Now, I'm not saying it can't rise to 72 or 77 or go to close the famous gap we have since February 2nd, which is that 82. We're going to rise to look for it today. I don't know how many will buy, and it's not that we're trying to predict how strong the market will buy Bitcoin. It's very difficult to know. We can only go by probabilities. Okay, so I think entering a short here is good because I think it's overbought. It's overbought in 1 hour and 4 hours. In 4 hours, it can rise to 72. Okay, it's in the high range. Of this channel, it's in the high range. Well, so it's going to have resistance there. Traders think it's a good area to enter a short or sell, which doesn't mean it can't keep rising, but it's a resistance, and after this area here, or 77, I think it's another. The 72, I'd say 70. 72, 77, and 82. Those are the next resistances, which means many traders see it as a good price to sell. Call it that in the order book. Right now, the market thinks that 70 needs a correction. I didn't say it well. There are for $100 million that think 70,500 is a good price to sell or enter a short. That's what the order book tells us. But what we've been saying for months, I think the $115 is still there, the $115 or $114. It could break the heads of a lot of people. Okay, well now, let's look at the bearish part. Hey, why isn't it coming out now? What's going on here? There it is. Okay, I'll take out the world shift that we've seen. Incredible. I haven't been paying attention, and I missed this. Because that's why I'm trying to bring up the topic of Delta Strike so it can alert us when the rise comes. When the rise comes, which, in fact, there have been 700 Bitcoins, which isn't much. Well, whatever. Today, strong buyers have entered. In total, we have the correction now. They're putting longs at 69, which seems to me. Someone is trying to buy longs at 69, which seems extraordinary to me, because, in addition, the liquidations have already taken all of them. They've liquidated all the shorts, which is another possible strategy. They've liquidated all the shorts, which means it won't keep rising. No, but the probabilities increase that there will be a small correction. Why? To go liquidate the longs. Now, those entering long, because they think the price will keep rising. So for me, now, it's at 69. Will it succeed or not? Because be careful, it's strong. We're talking about $30 million at 0.08% of the current price. So, be careful. These $30 million can be taken away with $30 million. A trade of $30 million, and they take away. Sorry, I didn't say it well. A trade of $50 million, and they take away $30 million, which means that money is really being risked to be caught by a market maker. Hey, I'll say it. Market maker. No, how do you say it? A market. Why do they call it market? I don't agree with this. They call it limit and market. It doesn't make sense. Limit is placing an order in the order book, and market is making a trade. I don't know why they call it that, but okay. I'm not finding the word I want to say, but you understand me. A desperate person who presses the button and says, I don't care about the price. Next thing. So, if we look at the order book balance, what we see is that there are many more orders of 200 Bitcoins in the buyback area, in a drop. So, today there are more than 50. Today there are more than 50 than yesterday. Yesterday there were more than 60. So I'm going to mark these areas so we can see them drawn on the chart and realize the areas that are being bet on more strongly. And look, we basically have. This should be extended somehow so it can be lengthened so we can see it now more strongly. And look, we already have. This would have to be put in some way so it can be extended. But we see that it's one at 60. Someone already mentioned a 64 around there. There's a 69, that's the one pressing now. To push the price up, a 65. That's it. Everything else is 54. The 54 is 55. So we already have the entries. For Bitcoin, of course, the 64 is for scalping. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not, but we have. Well, actually, it's 66, be careful. 66, which is the zone. This one here, the trading zone, is the middle zone of this range, and then we have the 62, which is the last spike, let's call it, and the 55, which is I'm going to say what comes to mind. Nuclear bomb, or something extraordinary. It also says now that the president of Israel has been killed. In a bombing, I don't know. This 55 is very bad, right? This 55 would be an extremely bad situation. I mean, now France says it won't disclose how many nuclear bombs it has. I don't know what's going on. So, I don't want to go into this topic. But it's 66, high probability, 62, medium probable scenario, and very low probability, but a unique opportunity, 55. 55 would be extraordinary. Because it's been. Let's see how long it's been since we've been at 55. The last time we were at 50, well, we had this spike. Here, let's call it July 29th of 2024. We're talking about 2024. So it would be an extraordinary opportunity. And what I want to point out here is one of the things I'd like to study so that it can be used. But if you have $1,000 in capital, what we're talking about is a prediction that right now the multi-millionaires with the most futures or what Binance wants to protect or expects to happen are these 3 points. That's why if we consider this last crazy move at 52, we could consider 4 points, right? But that's very unlikely to happen in the next 24 hours. And let's not forget that the 666 is still there, the 666. That came out just before the war started, right? In the top 10, which has been going on for days. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, for example, if you have $1,000, how to distribute it among this position, this position, this position, and this position. Why? Because, or even, of course, you can go long or short, right? But that's what multimillionaires do. Multimillionaires say, what I still don't understand, but what they say is, I distribute my capital among this position, this position, this position, and this position. I mean, one way to look at it is to say, for example, if there's $1 billion in the top 10 accumulated, let's say that billion is our $1,000, and that would give us a hint on how to distribute it. Or the other way is to take this. Well, I'm getting carried away, but for example, I'm not entering at 66, I'm not entering at 62, because for this end of the range, it's better for me to enter, which means it won't enter in 2 weeks, at least that's what I expect. Not that I know it won't enter, but the 62, for example, I like, and the 55 too. Now, I'm trading, I've already entered short again. I have 2 shorts entered near 70, and I had 60,058. So, what I'm going to change today is I'm going to put a 61.888 here. 61.888. And 55. Actually, we see it at 55.55. Here's where I put the 2 entries. To enter long and now short. I'm already in. Maybe I'll add another entry if I see it going up. Because right now, well, you know that this is Mexc, which has the cheapest commissions in the market. And now I'm going to start moving slowly to Bingx. Basically because it has APIs. I think all of you can trade on Bingx. Tell me if you can in some countries. Because we're also going to use it for Delta Strike, for those of you who have a Bingx account with the Transcend Money community link. You can use Delta Strike, and if you're in Mexc trading, you can enter directly into Delta Strike. Okay, so what I was saying, is that what I'm missing? Damn, there's unemployment data today. I think I saw a flash that there were unemployment data. Well, if you want to enter Delta Strike, not Delta Strike, but the web application I showed you, just put login terminal, okay, in Delta Strike. And if you're trading on Mexc, you'll be able to enter with a certain volume. And those of you on Bingx, I think next week, you'll also be able to enter Delta Strike if you open a Bingx account and trade on Bingx, okay? Okay, so what I was saying was, in case it keeps going up, right? How many of you are short and how many of you are long? At 70 and a bit, it would be an 11, and that's where I'd get liquidated. So the 72. I mean, let me check for a moment. What I'm looking at is, Look at the huge number of trades. Imagine when we have the robot. It's going to be crazy. The number of entry and exit signals. Of course, here at 76, I'd already be in trouble. Because there's some resistance at 76.